shule.
Sasa barabara ziende nywe.
Wanafunzi
waache kufika shule wakiwa wamejaa matope.
The government is mad.
They take care of tires.
Sasa barabara ziende nywe.
Paramedics
Wacha kufika hosi wakiwa
hizi barabara they take care.
Government isifike. I mean
take care of tires. Watu wetu paramedics
na wacha kufika hosi wakiwa tired.
Halafu government isifiwe. Government isifiwe. Watu wetu wasifiwe na wagonjwa wao iache kushindana na mimea kushuka.
Halafu the same road
ziende nywe barabara tundiwe street light. Bei ya chakula iache kushindana na mimea kushuka. Kutupimia hewa. Hizi barabara tundiwe street light. Wezi waache kutungojea ina dark corners kutupimia hewa. Waache kutungojea kwa dark tusaidie kuona mwanga kutupimia hewa. Tukue magogetas tuache kupigana ngeta. Wezi waache kutungojea ina dark corners kutupimia hewa. Polisi hizi street light zitusaidie kuona mwanga. Halafu tukue magogetas tuache kupigana ngeta. Politician mwenye haizi ongea his mother tongue atutenganishe on tribal basis. Halafu tusikubali politicians kwa grao politician mwenye na ikishindwa ongea his mother tongue atutenganishe on tribal basis. Halafu gava ipe mayouth kazi na ikishindwa waende kwa street. Halafu gava ipe left na Subaru mayouth kazi na ikishindwa isiwatumie line ya kwenda heaven. Isiwatumie DCI. Kusikiza matopi lafu gava ipema youth kazi. Na ikishindwa waende kwa street. Matoni ule msee na Subaru hapatikani kwa public participation. Matoni ule msee line ya kwenda heaven. Huwa hajaipiga kura. Kusikiza matopi na believe kura zitaongelea the Kenya he won. Matoni ule msee huwa hapatikani kwa public. Bado ni mgonjwa ako na mtu wetu. Matoni ule msee hadai mambo ya chama. Anasema yeye ni kura zitaibiwa tu. Matoni ule msee bado hawezi pigia youthman mwenzake kura. Bado ni mgonjwa ako na mtu wetu. Matoni ule msee hadai mambo ya chama. Anasema yeye ni partiless. Matoni ule msee bado hawezi pigia youthman mwenzake kura. Na bado anaamini anadai the older one Sarah. But yendo bado anaamini kwanza kwa gava kusema I want change. Time the real change. But yendo kwa kwanza kwa street kusema
So hiyo ni ya imani nimesikia akisema ni mtu bado haisi piga kura kwa sababu anaamini bado itatibiwa. Sasa mimi tupige kura kuchagua wale viongozi wenye watatusaidia wezi wanatumia hiyo kisa kujengeka. Sasa tunafaa kwa wale then we have at least tukue na yani our leaders from the world level nationwide. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Just a reminder, this is a conversation. We all have to participate. The voices in the room matters so that we get to the destination that you mentioned is the Kenya that I want. And the online voices matters too. Nani amepiga picha na akapost the Kenya I want? Ama nani ameshare link? Oh, thank you. Please keep posting with the hashtag to participate. This is the hashtag that you are using for this conversation. And now, let's come to the room. We are going to have a panel discussion. And the Kenya that we want from the conversation that Imani has given us. She has talked about good environment for our jobs, our businesses, security, education, opportunities, free and fair election, and participation. Let's hear from our panel members whether whatever Imani wants as a young person, and also the voices that we've heard from the street, and also here in the room, whether it's the same as all of us shared. I'll be introducing my first panel member. My first panel member is called Elgeiyo Kiprono. Kiprono is a BDS specialist and a commentator on governance. He has an extensive experience in business development, governance, and development consultancy. Let's clap for him as he joins us on the stage. Give makofi hadi afike. Karibu sana. Our second panel member is Kapkea Eda Chebet. Kapkea Chebet is the founder of atakuja kutuambia hiyo jina. A youth-led organization located in Kenya that advocates for the just environment and climate governance. Eda is also the youth senator Elgeiyo Marakwet County. She represents the views, the experience of the young people of Elgeiyo Marakwet in national and international platforms. Karibu sana. Let's clap for her. And the last member of our panel is Daniel Murkomen. He's a legal and compliance specialist, policy and good governance enthusiast. Pigia makofi jamani. Karibuni sana. Feel free. We are driving the conversation. I hope you've heard from the views of the online and also the members of the room of the Kenya that I want. Thank you. So, starting from my closest right, what is the Kenya that you want? What is the ideal Kenya that you are visioning as a young person?
Okay, as you've all heard, my name is Elgeiyo Kiprono. I am a business specialist. And the Kenya I want to see is a Kenya that has a working citizens' welfare. So We don't. In Kenya, we have a situation whereby the government doesn't want to get involved when we are growing, when we are cultivating, when we are constructing. But when it comes to the time that we harvest, they want to be part of the harvest through taxes. So there is a Swahili saying that goes by mtu anavuna alichokipanda, but the government in Kenya looks to be going against this by harvesting where they did not grow. So they did not participate in empowering the citizens, having a working environment that is good for businesses and all economic activities, and they want to reap where they did not sow. Again, so that is the Kenya I want, with a working citizens' welfare, and that is Kenya that is has equality. So we have in Kenya, from Nairobi to maybe Murang'a, there is a dual carriageway all the way from Nairobi to Murang'a. But in Elgeiyo Marakwet, we don't have those roads. We have, in some parts, we have a jungle. And a person coming from Tambalat is expected to compete with someone born in Thika. So the Kenya I want is a Kenya that has even chances for anyone born anywhere. So geography doesn't have to be a limiting factor. That is the Kenya I want to see. Thank you.
Eda, what is the ideal Kenya that you want?
Introducing my CBO that she missed to say the name. My name is Kapkei Dachebet. I'm the founder of Hagasida CBO. We champion and advocate for just environment and climate governance. Also, I'm the youth senator in Elgeiyo Marakwet County. The Kenya that I want a Kenya that works for the young people now and for the young people in future. Not just a Kenya that has an idea of we are the leaders of tomorrow. No, a Kenya that works for me, that works for you, that works for any young person in Kenya right now. A Kenya that includes us, a Kenya that hears our voices, a Kenya that allows us to have opinions on matters that concerns us, a Kenya that includes us in every aspect that concerns us. That is a Kenya that I believe is a fair Kenya for us, the young people, is a fair Kenya for children, is a fair Kenya for women, is a fair Kenya for adults and men, is a fair Kenya for marginalized and indigenous groups. So for me, my main point, the Kenya I want is a Kenya that listens, is a Kenya that includes, and is a Kenya that works for us now, not later. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Eda. That's a good point on young people and the Kenya that I want. To you, Akili, what is the ideal Kenya that you want?
Reflecting on your question, I think the Kenya that I want, I cannot exhaustively say, but in a nutshell, I feel like the Kenya that we all want, or that Kenyans fought for, has given us an equal opportunity, including when it comes to distribution of resources. So it's only for mimi na vijana wangu, wenzangu kutoka Elgeiyo Marakwet, we need to actively participate, take action, hold our leaders to account, and also involve ourselves in the daily practices in our society, as the way Yano Legend said. Yeah, so that's the Kenya I want, a Kenya that is equal.
Thank you so much, Dan. Because we are in Elgeiyo Marakwet, there is one question I wish to draw to you, my panel members. what is that one thing or one issue that the young people in Elgeiyo Marakwet County are carrying heavily? Anyone can start.
Mother of all problems for the youth in Elgeiyo Marakwet has to be youth unemployment, as it is in all other counties. So most of the youth in Elgeiyo are well read, they are educated, they have all the necessary academic. What happens after education or school is done? You cannot eat your certificates, you cannot eat the qualification you have. You have to do something for you. You have to do something for you to eat. So what do you do when there is no job? So the main problem or the main challenge the youth of Elgeiyo Marakwet is the indignity that comes with unemployment. So that is the major problem that faces the youth of Elgeiyo Marakwet.
Mine is to second what my fellow panelists have said here, but I'll just add on to that. One of the problems that faces us, including myself and all of them here, is exclusion. Exclusion in matters concerning us that are run by our counties. If we are included, first I'd love to say, I'd love to recognize the leadership, but inclusion will really work because we are different generations. The ones who are leading now and us, and that's why it's easy for us, the young people right now, to raise your opinion without caring, because we have platforms, we have Facebook, we have Twitter, where we can raise our concerns without really knowing who you are or who whatever, we are going past that. So why are we doing this? Because we are mostly excluded from the decisions our leaders make. We are not, for example, a decision is passed, they believe fair, it is really good that they believe it's going to work, but it might not work for us, the current us and current life that we have, and the current climate, the living climate that we have. So when you pass a bill, for example, that doesn't have an insight from a youth who is experiencing that issue. For example, you're passing a bill that is supposed to help me, or is supposed to help I'm from Kaptarakwa, so it's supposed to help the youth from Kaptarakwa, and you're not bringing them on board to tell you, by the way, this is really right. But in 30 years' time, things will change, and I'll still be here. Why don't we do it this way? Include the community, include the young people in all decisions that you make, because the decision that you're making right now, it's not just for now. This is a decision that is going to run for a long time. So if you don't include us and you make decisions according to how you believe is the right now for you and your maybe your age mates, you really believe it is right, you exclude us, the young people, from participating, from wanting to know, and that's why you will see so many young people settling for the less that you're giving us. You can give us 100 bob and that's okay. Because first, you haven't even guided us on what you're trying to propose. So when you give me that 100 shilling, I'm okay with it. If you tell me and I am allowed to participate and I'm allowed to give my opinion and I'm allowed to give my view, maybe this will be more than the 100 bob. Maybe this will be a long-term win for both parties, for you as the government, for you as the leader, and for us as the young people. Thank you so much.
Okay, that's an interesting question. I think I'll take a different path from what my fellow panelists have said. As somebody who is, comes from Elgeiyo Marakwet, was born in Elgeiyo Marakwet, and had the opportunity to live outside Elgeiyo Marakwet, I feel like the largest burden that we carry, our people carry, my fellow youth from Elgeiyo Marakwet carry, is adaptability and lack of opportunity, which I will tie it with lack of exposure. I feel like the script that worked for the millennials was enda shule, soma kwa bidii, utapata kazi. alafu utajenga familia yako, and that's how that is supposed to work. But now, in 2050, 1 in 4 people in the world will be coming from Africa, which means that Africa will have a very, very huge population. And that population is us now, the youth. Which means the jobs that were there created by governments, the jobs that were there created by businesses and industries can no longer fit vijana saizi. Like, we are so many for those opportunities. So nowadays, the world has significantly changed. We have the digital economy that we also capitalize on. We have something like the orange economy, the creative economy. You've had here Imani akituimbia spoken word. Okay, how can we capitalize on her talent? We have the green economy, what we do agriculture. Edda, you've mentioned working with a CBO that focuses on environmental conservation. I mean, how can we capitalize on environmental conservation as a way of earning a living? You know, we need to think outside of the box. I feel like the biggest challenge that we lack as Steve Jana wa EMC, we took to moja. We lack the exposure, and even if we have the exposure, the opportunities that should have been made available to us by none other than our viongozi wetu. So it's about time we now take an active step in participating in every, as Eda has said, in every decision making that's going to take place in Elgeiyo Marakwet. Kama ni forward, there is allocation of funds for setting up a digital ICT hub, what was on a computer, what was graphic design and stuff. That is how we ought to involve ourselves. So the largest burden for me is we lack exposure and we lack opportunity. And the solution is only one. We need to participate.
Thank you so much. Thank you, my panel from Elgeiyo Marakwet, the voice of the young people in Elgeiyo Marakwet, for raising the issues of youth and employment, inclusion, exposure, and also participation. At this point, I would like us to hear from the room. Do you people share the ideology that the young people from the streets and the citizens, the one Imani has shared with us here, and also the one that the panel members have shared with us here? I would like to hear from my audience. Please tell us your contribution on the Kenya you want. Tell us your name, the sub-county that you are coming from, and complete the sentence with the Kenya I want is, for example, I'm Chesang somewhere, I'm from Keyo North, the Kenya I want is this and this. Also to our online viewers, kindly ask the question that you wish to hear from us. Also engage with us. We'll be taking on your feedback. Thank you. As I wait for the Kenya I want, I'll just wish to remind you that we are live on Nandi Youth TV on YouTube and Facebook. On Facebook, we are also live at EMC Daily and Sarah House on YouTube and Facebook.
Yes, my name is Jairus Kilimo from Marakwet East, a student leader from this very county, and I'm delighted this evening to be in this congregation discussing about the Kenya that we wish to have going forward. The Kenya I would want as Kilimo is a country where youth are not only used for voter mobilization, but rather decision makers in the political parties. Kenya being a republic, it means all the power lies with the people. And if power lies with the people, being a democratic country again, political parties play a very crucial role in shaping our country on matters policies that affect people as far as that village. And when youth are not participating even in the political parties, for instance, we've seen political parties coming for grassroots elections, but you realize the turnout is so low, like someone being elected to represent a ward only by 5 people. And this is someone who will go make a decision that it will not only affect that village or that ward, but rather the decision of the country. For me, I'm looking forward to youth being in the decision-making table of the political parties, where a policy submitted by a youth, even in that what level public participation. It will be considered for implementation, not only as a thing of marking a box that we did a public participation, but rather informing the decision that it is done even at the county level and the national level. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We can even engage with our local language. This is an organic conversation initiated by the young people from Elgeiyo Marakwet. Ukisikia Kimara itaweza, tumia. Ukisikia Kikeyo itaweza, you are allowed.
Hamjambo. Kwa majina naitwa Timothy Kimayo. Marakwet is sub-county, Samburu Ward, from specifically Koipatek location. Huwa napenda kutumia lugha ya Kiswahili na mtaniruhusu nitumie. Ukiona hawa team ni kwamba Kenya ninayoitaka, yani Kenya ambayo wewe mwenyewe ungependa. Jambo la kwanza, kinyume na matarajio ya wengi, kwa sababu mimi nimeshiriki kwa uchaguzi mara nyingi, na kulingana na matokeo ni kwamba sijaafikia ile kiwango ambayo nilikuwa nataka kutoka kwa wale viongozi. Kwa hivyo ilifika mahali nikabadilisha mawazo yangu. Sikuwa vile Imani alikuwa amesema. Kuna yule jamaa hapo anawaaminia wanasiasa tena, anasema kwamba hata nikipigia kura ni bure. Kwa hivyo mimi wengi wetu hapa tulisoma, na kuna tuseme kiongozi moja sitaweza kutaja jina lake, lakini ni kiongozi wetu kule nyumbani, aliweza kuja wakati fulani kwa ground. Na sisi kama vijana, kama kawaida, kunapokuwa na labda mkutano wa siasa, huwa tunajipanga na tunaenda na stakabadhi zetu. Tunasema leo ni leo, lazima tumpe, na lazima atapeleka Nilipopewa nafasi ya kusimama kwa niaba ya vijana, nikamuuliza kiongozi, umekuja nini leo hapa? Akasema amekuja kudisperse pesa ambazo zilikuwa zinajenga certain classroom hapo. Nikamwambia good, umekuja kujenga shule? Shule ni ya nini? Ni ya wanafunzi kusoma. Baada ya kusoma wanaenda wapi? Story ikachukua mkondo mwingine. Kwa hivyo unatuambia kuna kazi ilali unaleta pesa za kujenga shule? Lengo langu ilikuwa hili, kwamba kama vijana umefika wakati wa kufikiria kuleta maoni tofauti na kauli mbiu tofauti, kwamba licha ya wewe kusoma kwa mstari wa mbele kujiajiri wewe mwenyewe, kwamba sisi wote hapa tumejumuika hapa leo, labda asilimia 99% wamesoma, na kunapotokea nafasi ya kuandika watu kazi, sisi wote bila shaka tutaandikwa kazi, labda wawili. Wale wengine tutaenda wapi? Wanamuuliza, je, tuko na kikundi cha vijana hapa na wako na lengo ya kujiendeleza kimaisha, kwa sababu tunaposema utuandike kazi au utatuandika wote. Nenda letea sisi watu ambao ambalo ningependa nyinyi hama jambo ambalo ningependa kuwahimiza vijana ni kwamba kiongozi anapokuja ground, unapoenda kuzungumza na yeye, kiangalie kwanza wewe umefanya nini, hili na yeye pia aone huyu amefanya kitu. Mimi kwa Kenya ambayo ninaitaka ni kwamba ni Kenya ambayo kijana anajituma. Naona ni kama ni Kenya tu peke yake ambaye ni kiongozi anakuja anasema tuimbe huu wimbo, hata wewe mwenyewe hujui wimbo unasema nini, bora tu tuingie kwa barabara wake anatazama kwa runinga. Baadaye unakuja kusema mtu compensate, familia inajitokeza inasema watoto waliangamia kwa maandamano. Auelewi. Kenya ambayo mimi mwenyewe ningependa ama the Kenya I want me personally ni ile Kenya ya kwamba kijana anajituma. Wakati mwanasiasa anakuja na mambo yake ambayo anaweka kwa msingi ya ukabila fulani, ningekataa mimi na niseme hapana, wacha nifanye kitu cha maana ambacho huyu kiongozi nikimuitisha namwambia kwamba ninahitaji labda nimefungua hatua yangu hapa, ningehitaji hata nikuwe motivated na kitu kama 50k, atasema huyu kweli, badala ya kusema anataka kazi ya serikali ni rahisi. Kwa hivyo vijana, mimi ningewasihi kwamba umtaki, hata hamna haja ya wewe kumwataki hata kwa mtandao. Hiyo kitu haina maana, hiyo ni kupikia mbuzi kita. Jambo la maana ni kwamba ule wakati wa kuingia debeni, chukua kati yako ambaye ni siri yako, mtoe. Huyu mtu kwa njia moja ama nyingine akusikizi kwa vyovyote vile, utaendelea tu kuenda kwa maandamano, kwa barabara, na baadaye hakuna kazi ambayo umejifanyia wewe mwenyewe. Kwa hivyo ningependa tu kuwahimiza kwamba sisi tu participate. Let us turn our minds. Kenya ambayo tunataka ni Kenya ambayo wewe mwenyewe, kuna nchi kama Switzerland, like for example, 1 minute. Switzerland ni nchi ambayo 7% ya wote wameajiriwa na serikali. Wale wengine ambayo labda ni zaidi ya 93 wamejiajiri wenyewe, na unaona ni uchumi ambayo unakuwa kwa kasi sana. Kwa hivyo ningependa tuike mfano huu. Si lazima kama vile yule alisema kwamba mwenzetu alisema kwamba umesomea kitu fulani lazima usimame na hiyo nataka hii. Hapana, mimi ni mwanahabari, ningependa kuajiriwa kwa station fulani. Kuna kazi ambayo unafanya sema kwamba huyu kweli ni mwanga wa jamii. Jianze na wewe, ndio unapoenda pale kutangaza maneno, hata watu watasema hata hivyo kweli alifanya ikakwama mahali fulani, anafaa kupika kelele. Kwa hivyo ningependa kuwahimiza, let us participate so that we can make the Kenya that we want. Asanteni sana, Mungu awabariki.
Thank you so much, Kimayo. I'll encourage you use at least 1 minute so that you can have the opportunity of us sharing with one another, like tubakishane muda.
Good evening. My name is Manoj Protich Piwot from Elgeiyo Marakwet County, Elgeiyo North Sub-County, and Kamarin Ward. The Kenya I want is the Kenya that I can sit at the comfort of my living room and be able to know what kind of projects is going on in my county, and especially down in my ward. What do I mean? What I mean is, I can sit in my couch or in my living room with my phone, as we in the era of technology. As you can see, most of us here are on our phones. If we had an app that I can come in, like let's say for example, Elgeiyo Marakwet County app, that I can be able to know what is going on in Kamarin, especially like I want to know what the county government is doing in my ward. I'll say, let me see what's going on in my ward, especially in health sector. or let me say education or roads. I want to know which road is being maintained right now. I can come in Google, not even Google, I'll go to the dashboard and just search Kamarin Ward and county project that is going on. I want to see if there's something like road that is being maintained right now. And what is the percentage of completion? Let it not just be this road is being maintained. I want to see the live update that it's 56% complete. Not just it's being done. No, what percentage of it, what's the progress? If I can be able to track the progress, this leader that, let's say for example, we have elected, in the near future, when election time comes, if somebody has done the great work that deserves appreciation to participate in terms of doing an election, that it will vote him in again, or I can participate to vote him out. I can also go in and see our level 5 hospital here in ICRH. I can be able to see when, let's say for example, a mother goes into the delivery, if the progress, if they can be able to do the CS or normal delivery on time, and then the mortality rate of our children is going low every day. I can be able to trace the data on that county app or the Kenya I Want app. I can be able to see what's going on right now. What's the mortality rate in my county ICRH? Thank you. That's the Kenya I Want.
Thank you so much. I'd like to hear opinions from ladies. We are making the room male dominated. As the ladies are taking the stage, I'd like to read some of the comments and some of the discussion that is going on in our social media platform. That is Sarah House, Nandi Youth TV, and EMC Daily. We have Benjamin who says, the Kenya I want, the young people need real change in Kenya for us to see an end to corruption and get employment opportunities for the youth. We have People's Peace. Amesema from the script of Imani, mambo si barabara, tunataka hiyo barabara. Alex Maina says, tunataka waunde mambo ya barabara, ndio mambo ikwe barabara. Keep engaging us. We also have Emmanuel Menjo who is asking us a question. If today you had a chance to change one thing in Kenya, what will you change? Ladies in the room, let's now continue the conversation.
The Kenya I want. My name is Martha from Elgeiyo Marakwet East, Endo Ward. And the Kenya I want is the Kenya that the leaders are taking accountability of what they are doing. And the change, we have to bring the change by, as youth, by having honest leaders that are taking accountability. As our panelist Kiprono said, other counties have good infrastructure and inatufanya to feel like hao wanapewa pesa mingi than other counties, but it's because of our leaders. Leader wagani sisi tunawachoose. Kwa nini hiyo place pati imedevelop na huko Elgeiyo Marakwet imedevelop? Hebu tutafute leaders ambao wanatuongelelea parliament. Hebu tutafute wale leader ambayo wanatusemezea kama ni vita huko Elgeiyo Marakwet ni juu ya nini. Hebu na hiyo leader inatokana na mimi na wewe. Tutaanza hapo kwa ballot box. Tutaanza pale kwa choose kwa chama. Ndio tukuje kwa ballot box. Wengi wetu vijana I think tuna participate ikifika time ya voting. But ikifika pale ya memorandum ya kuanza kutoa wale ambao kwa chama to participate. Can we show up as youth? Tujitokeze. Can we raise our voices and change our Kenya? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mother. We also have on our social media platform, we have Solitize Namoite from Turkana. I want a Kenya that everyone respects the other, don't want to be treated because of my origin. I don't want to be described by where I come from. Thank you so much for those platforms. We can get 2 more voices before we come back to the panel.
Good evening. My name is Elgeiyo from Kenya South, BME Ward. And the Kenya I want is a Kenya that upholds inclusivity, equality, equity, and support the youth. As the panelist Kiprona says that we don't want the government that only harvests when we've already grown. Why don't you support us when we are starting from zero or somewhere? Also, when I say about inclusivity, why don't you include us in whatever you do? Because ever since I was born, there are people who have hold seats in offices and there's no change. They're always there. Why don't you give space for others? And in equity, let's give it and make it same for everyone, from gender, diverse, economic background. Let's just be equal to everyone, and equity, let's be fair in whatever we do and accountable.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Kirui Sikno from Marakwet West, Elam, Wada, Kabarmagai village. As a student of public administration and political science from Moi University, most of the things that we talked about, my key is a country. I want a country whereby there is a genuine dialogue. You know, most of these things we do, we have a lot of divisive politics. Currently, the politics are high. They are heated. I think we should have a country whereby we engage in a meaningful dialogue as a country. And through peace and I know Dr. is much of, you know something on peace. Even you, maybe you are married or not, you know something about peace in a family. And so a country is like a family. So if we will have a meaningful dialogue as a country, I think that is the Kenya I need. I think that is a Kenya that will prioritize its citizens. That is according to me. I really wish to have a country whereby we are the children of this country. So they should have to consider us in those dialogues, and they should be meaningful. They should be meaningful. And I also want a country whereby job opportunities should not just come from knowing somebody who knows someone.
serikali haikuji kukuuliza what do you want. So the government will not come to you to ask what do you want personally as Kiprono or as Karen or as whoever you think you are. The government will not come to ask you what you want to do. So what should we do then? To understand how government works. So government works through policies, through budgets, through acts of parliament, through laws. So that is how a government works. It does not work like you want them to work. So it works through policies. So and where are these policies formed? Mostly they are formed in institutions and parliament. And these policies are driven by, most of the time, they are driven in caucuses. So first of all, we have to get into the decision-making table and influence the policies that are being made. So we should move from complaining and from being enraged. So someone said there that no matter how enraged you feel, you think you are enraged, that will not move the government and it will not realize the Kenya that we want. So the Kenya that we want will only be achieved if we shape the policies that are being passed by the government. That in my point, is how we achieve the Kenya we want.
Thank you so much. I'll go to my father's right to Murkomen. Many young people feel that they have spoken, they have protested, posted on social media, complained, but still they don't see any change, maybe from the government agencies, from the institutions. What does it mean to move from expression to making the impact?
Okay, number one, I want to laud the voices that I've heard here, specifically from Kemei, who mentioned that for us to achieve the Kenya that we want, or the Kenya that is ideal to him, is a Kenya that is ceased from divisiveness. Unajua hii nchi tunaishi siku hizi ni kitambo ilikuwa kati ya mahasla na madinas, ikakuja kati ya Gen Z na wale wase wengine, kesho itakuja katikati ya UDA na ODM, ama ilikuwa Kenya Kwanza na Azimio. Hiyo time nyingine ilikuwa. So there's that us versus them mentality in every approach that we have. So I am thinking along the lines of Kemei, why don't we have a Kenya where we discuss, okay, ODM, what is your strategy? What is your strategy for unemployment? What is your strategy for handling issue like infrastructure, inclusion, gender equality, vitu kama hizo. So why must we have a conversation yenyewe ikikuja 2027 ni watu wa one term na watu wa two term, ni watu wa four term na mtu wa sijui wa nini nimesikia mahali fulani. So why are we having a conversation about terms instead of having a conversation around governance, good governance, the healthcare industry, education, and so on and so forth. So that's a good one to make. We need to cease from that discussion here. The CC na wale, us versus. So that's one. On the issue of the grievance mechanism, interestingly, if you look at the historical nature of Kenya, apparently I'm a student of history, I think also Kemei is, you'll notice there's a way we over time we have expressed our grievances as Kenyans. So kitambo ilikuwa against wakoloni. So there are people who decided to dialogue, and there are people who decided to, go to the bushes and sort guerrilla warfare. So whichever the means, the goal was the same. So what really mattered was the goal, is not how we express ourselves. So then after now we got independence, another fight for, fight for multi-party democracy, and then we know all what Kina Orengo did, and Kina Raila, the bearded sisters who fought for this a multi-party democracy. Then that phase ended. Then we had this new phase where we said, why are we using a katiba yenye tulitengenezewa na mkoloni? Then we had this issue of which I don't know whether it's still a new constitution, tuko na katiba mpya. Now coming to that katiba, naona hiyo katiba yetu ya saizi, I don't know where you guys were in 2010, but as a pioneer Gen Z, I was there when that katiba was being promulgated by the late President Emilio Mwai Kibaki. And there is nothing as beautiful, and take it from me as a learned person, as somebody who is learned in law, that there's nothing good like the katiba yenye tumepatiwa. In fact, when people tell me that Kalenjins want to go to Australia and America and wanataka kwenda majuu, I'll tell you something interesting. There's no beautiful country, no beautiful place you will ever get like Kenya. Kenya ni home. So we cannot go away from home to change home. Why can't we change home from within? And we use those safeguards tumepatiwa na katiba. Ya kwanza tuliambiwa story na under article 33 ya katiba. Oh, we can express our opinions. Siku hizi mkipost mara nimesikia Imani amesema nikipost kwa mtandao napatiwa lift na Subaru. It shouldn't be that way, you know. So we've seen we express ourselves online, but have we really gotten the impact that we wanted? Not really. We've tried going to the streets, man. Mnakumbuka 2024 wenye kulienda, sijuzi ilikuwa anniversary. You saw how it went. So we don't have to lose our lives in the streets to keep protest so that we air our grievances. So what other safeguards do we have? Ndio kila mtu achunge maisha yake. Acha niwaambie, solution tu iko tu hapa kwa hii katiba yetu. Ya kwanza ni hapo tu kwa hao viongozi tunapigia kura. You know, we exercise our power indirectly through them. So why don't we actively participate in the process of getting these leaders who actually listen to us? That is the first one. Number two, kwa katiba yetu tena hii katiba yetu tu ya Kenya imetuambia sisi kama vijana, you can present petitions to parliament. We don't really have to go there na kwanza kusema yote yawezekana bila, no. We can always find other channels. We can present petitions to these public authorities. Kesho tuseme county commissioner tuambia tuwezi fanya game flani ama tuwezi host event flani. We can go to him and have a discussion with him. We present a petition and tell him, give us, explain to us, give us legitimate reasons why we cannot do that. Sisi kama vijana. Another way we can go to claim to present our grievances huko mbele. Wakati juzi walikuwa nataka kufence hapa hivi hii forest yetu ya Kaptagat. Sijui kama mlikuwa mnafuatilia. There are people who went above and beyond to ensure that your action government nataka kuja kufence hii forest ya Kaptagat, they need to explain to the public why are they fencing this forest of ours, ndio? And if the government did not have a legitimate reason, that fencing would not have gone on if it followed whatever went through. So public participation is a very essential requirement enshrined in our law, to be honest. That is our constitutional safeguard that we have. We have to participate, even in policy making, like why are we fencing our forests? Why are we having conservancies? So, of course, the other one is more of watu kama sisi. So when you see an issue that concerns society, that you feel like it ought to be addressed, katiba yetu pia imetupatia opportunity ingine interesting. Ukienda ufungu hivi hapo tukayo katiba yetu tu, kuna article inaitwa article 23. Article 23 imesemaje? Any person who feels aggrieved by any decision, any action, any inaction by a government institution or any public body, you have the authority to approach the High Court and tell the courts, niaje, I feel like sisi haki yetu hapa imefanya nini? Inakandamizwa. And the court will listen to you. And interestingly, in constitutional petitions, we usually don't pay misare. And interestingly, the way jurisprudence is going, si lazima uko umesoma sheria, si lazima uko wakili. You just go to the court and the court will hear you. Mnanipata? So we have very many ways of handling our grievances ama kusema vile tusolve shida zetu. But mimi niko na moja hapa leo nimekamkuambia. If you really want to live a beautiful life, if you really want to live in a good Elgeiyo, you should start by making beautiful choices. And the most beautiful choice you can get today is to start participating in the smallest decision making that affects you. Participate in everything. Every decision that can concern you, kindly participate.
Thank you so much, Wakili.
as we navigate towards this destination of the Kenya I want. Murkomen has talked about organized participation. And after organized participation, where are we heading to? Who makes this decision? So, to my panel header, as we are adjusting our flight path and focusing on this power, when young people say they want a better Kenya, who has actually the power to make many of those decisions? Secondly, where does power sit? And finally, who influences power?
Thank you so much for that question. First, I'll start by recognizing the people of Kenya are really smart. The people of Kenya know what they want. Kwanza, right now, our age, we know who we are, we know what is supposed to work, and we also have an idea of how it's supposed to work. And I'll second my close panelist here that the Constitution of Kenya really works for us. So, and it also, the Constitution of Kenya also mentions who has the power, and the power belongs to the people. The power belongs to you and me. The power belongs to that leader too, because he is part of the people. He is a citizen of Kenya. But one step that we really miss as citizens, as us, is, I'm sorry, I don't know, ignorance is a really big phrase, but a lack of information. You know, something comes up. Something is up in Kenya. You might not take your time to go through it, because if you go through it and you analyze that situation deeply and what is proposed, then you are able to see where the gaps are, where the problem is, and you are human. You are gifted naturally as a human, and as I've said, Kenyans are smart. You are able to come up with an idea of a solution. So that itself is a power. Before you're given power by the Constitution and by the country, you have that power. How you air it too matters. So basically what I'm trying to say, the power is within us. It is us who have that power, and so do our leaders. But if you let your leader, the one that you've selected, to do everything, I am not saying they are humans, but they are humans, right? So they cannot, yeah. And then later you will come and start saying, oh, you hata kujangi nitakuwekea mafuta. That is not his work. His work is on drafting on policy formulation to air your views and your experience from his constituencies. That is his main work, to represent you in parliament. So where is your power? Your power is, by the way, sisi kama wasichana wa hapa Keyo South, this is what we go through, okay? There was the issue of sanitary towels being taxed high and all that. We cannot afford that. We don't see why you will allow this to be and this to be increased. Why don't you represent our voice in parliament, and then that's how power, it comes from you. You who has voted him in, you have to understand you also have the power, but you cannot have this power if you lack information on what is exactly is being passed. I also want to recognize the issue that my fellow panelists here brought up on Kaptagat. I want to say that our grievances were aired well as per the Constitution, and I want to give that up to the people of Kaptagat, because that's what we felt. To actually view our issues. This is where the problem is, and this is where we speak. can work things through together. We don't have to fight. We don't have to do this and this. Yes, you as a leader, you do have the power, but we also as community, as the young people, as village members, sisi kama watu wa hapa, what if we do things differently? So my answer to that question is, who has the power? Everyone literally has the power. You have the power, myself, I have the power. It is for us to, it is for us to come together and work together. If without that idea of I have voted for you, or you are there so you know better, not really. Hata wewe ukiwa uko ushago, ama ukiwa nyumbani, hata ukiwa shule, you also know better. So if you give your point to this leader, and if you also give a chance to hear on their opinion, trust me, good things will come out of it, out of this. And mine is to also, let me just, what Kimei said on dialogues. Again, we cannot have a dialogue if we are not informed. Hata tukuwe na dialogue elfu kumi, if you're not involved, if you're not informed on what is happening, if hata tuite basi press yangu na mimi sijui kenye inaendelea sasa hivi, there is no dialogue I can have. So let's stay informed. When you're informed, that's where your power is, because you'll be able to share with the leader without beating him up or without him giving you 100 shillings. You both sit together and say, this is what works for you think works. So can we come together and see how we can, like, mmoja asifinyiliwe, let's work together and see this through. So who has the power? We all have the power, but we are more powerful when we work together and when we are informed. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Eda, for the great insights. As we are approaching the heart of our journey, I would like to read some of the comments that we have. We have Arrow Entertainment. He says, it's unfortunate that the leaders we trusted so much and elected them are now betraying us so much. Instead of actualizing their manifestos, they are busy feeding their pockets, which is unfortunate. How do we realize these aspirations? Public participation, election of leaders, great insights Wakili would comment. Also, we have Meli from Eldoret. He says, I want a Kenya that creates job opportunities for the youth, and also Kenya that provides affordable education. To summarize all this, we say power is not only in the streets, power is also in the nomination rooms, manifestos committees, party organs, parliamentary groups, county assembly caucus, and budget committees. Let's ensure, as young people, to realize the Kenya that we want, we are part of these institutions where power, or who influences power. I hope we are cruising on nicely. Are we? Are we? Thank you. Now to the heart of our conversation. Kiprono. Young people think that political parties need them only during elections. But what do political parties do beyond campaigns?
Okay. First of all, I'll start by recognizing the fact that the industry, Kenyan people, by the fact that she says Kenyan people are smart, and true to our word, Kenyan people are smart. Na wajinga waliisha Kenya, but there is one part that we miss as Kenyans on how powerful and the role of political parties. If you walk into, if you run into someone on the street, everyday Kenyans, and ask them what good do political parties do, the best answer they'll give you is that political parties are vehicles that get people to offices. So they are plainly vehicles that are used by politicians to clean offices, and after they get the offices, they dispose the vehicles and the will of the people. But that is, I think it is so wrong. It is a wrong understanding of how political parties work. So in Kenya, political parties do so many things. They don't only get people into parliament or county assemblies or to be governors or to be president. First of all, they sponsor candidates. So they sponsor candidates, unasikia kuna nomination. Alafu after nomination, someone goes into the ballot. For instance, in the North Rift, or let us take Nyanza. If you are to get an ODM ticket, that is a near direct win for you to win the election. So political parties sponsor candidates, they form caucuses in parliament. So most of the things that we go through, tukisema finance bill ni mbaya, budget ni kubwa, taxes zimekuwa mingi, it is not the president or anyone or any other person that wage these taxes on us. Hizi kura zinapigwa kwa parliament, and we've delegated our will to those we voted. So ulipigia MP kura ende represent. Does he represent what you represent? Anapigia kura kitu ile unataka. That is, we delegate our decision making to MCAs and to senators and to MPs. We are not following up to make sure that they are doing what we send them to do. So political parties form caucuses in the parliament that pass laws. So unaona mtu akishinda, the first thing they want to do is to get as big watches behind them in parliament as possible. So if, for instance, my party XYZ wins the presidential election, but I have a lower numbers in parliament, I will go out of my way to make sure that I have everyone, majority in the National Assembly or whatever assembly it is, to make sure that the policies I want are passed. So, and these people don't come from nowhere. They come from political parties. So political parties are used as caucuses to pass decisions in houses that are involved in decision making. So that is what parties are used for. And they also, I also say they sponsor candidates. And one thing is that we tend to think election as an event. So it's an event that will come next year. You already know the date. It will come next year around August. So that is what we think of election. But we are wrong. Election is a culmination of events. It is a culmination of events that span 5 years or 3 or 2 years. So if you don't take part in maybe say nomination, it is not wise for you to also not take part in the general election, because you are taking part in a thing that you are not part of from the start. So watu wakianza kuingia chama ya siasa, wakaingia nomination, wewe unangoja kupigia viongozi wenye watu wengine walishachagua. It is wise for us to be part of the process through political parties, because political parties shape who makes it to the ballot. So siku ya kupiga kura, mtu haizi anguka akaangukia kwa ballot. It started long ago by them joining a political party or something and being sponsored. That is.
Thank you so much. From the conversation we are getting that candidates are selected, manifestos are written, and policies are negotiated. Either, if young people want jobs, dignity, accountability, opportunity, and better leadership, then we ask,
how do political parties influence these policies, budgets, and laws?
First, I'll have to say, we are here to learn and unlearn, and I'm glad I have learned a few things from Bruno here, from what he has said. How do political parties influence what is needed by young people, or what young people are having challenges with? Again, as she has mentioned, political parties have manifestos. So before a political party becomes a ruling party, they are something that they tell you. They not sell, but they tell you, if you give us this, by the way, walai bilai tutawekea manyumba 60. Kila mtu hapa atakuwa ama kila mtu kwao atakuwa na swimu. So many promises. So if you are part of this party and you feel whatever this party is saying really is something that I support, they'll talk of youth employment. Watasema, when you give us this, if we get in, this is what we are going to do. We are going to bring training. We are going to work with the youth of Elgeiyo Marakwet in this and this, and you feel it aligns to you, and you feel you can also share your views. It is really good to be part of a party that aligns with you, because once this party joins, once this party becomes a ruling party, and they become true to their manifestos, to what they believe, to what they had promised, to what they had said. If they told you, we are going to run a project that will train the youth of Elgeiyo Marakwet, if they are true to their words, and that was part of their manifesto, that is a problem that has been solved for you, that you raised. That this is something that we are going through, and I think in this party, and then they, for example, I say employment is an issue in Elgeiyo Marakwet. Shower. The party A says we are going to roll out skills training, skills, capacity building, and all this, and trainings for the youth of Elgeiyo Marakwet, so that at least one has this idea, so that we solve this issue of unemployment that I had raised. So if this party gets in, and they are true to their words, and they do what they promised to do, that's how they have solved the issue of unemployment in Elgeiyo Marakwet. Party B says, if you give us this, we are going to make health low. Our women are not going to suffer. Watu wanaweza jifungua vizuri. So we are going to make the health sector perfect. And they are true to their words once they get in. Even when policies are proposed in parliament before an MP, and when you as a young person, you raised an issue to your MP on health, and that issue is in alignment with the party that you are working with and they are working with, it is easy for that bill to pass and to support you. And hapo, we have already dealt with the issue that was a problem in your grassroots area. So my thinking, what I believe is that political parties align with the issues on the ground. If they are true to their words. Second, if they align with the problems that are really there, because, and you as a young person, how you can participate and be involved with that is by joining one that aligns with you. If you feel this what their manifesto, this is the problems you're having in Kaptarakwa, these are the issues that we are having in KU South, and the party has said once we get into ruling, if we get here and we not only ruling, also we will try our best to work on it. If they are true to their words, this is how these problems are going to be solved literally through that party. This is where you say this and this can work and this cannot work, this and this is the problem and this is it. So once they get in, that's how they come in to solve the issues that affect you as someone from the grassroots level. Thank you.
Thank you, Youth Senator. Youth Senator has just said, we have to have the political parties wanajihusisha na vitu zenye zinafanyika kwa ground. If youth employment, education, public debt, corruption, and dialogue are not part of the manifestos. That means probably there are issues that will never be covered. So whatever, any political parties that bring you the conversation of electing their leaders, you also have to make yourself familiar with what they stand on and what are they offering to we the citizens. To more comments, there are a lot of frustrations among the young people towards political parties. You even mentioned the constitution allowing us to go to the streets, like we are demonstrating, blah, blah, blah. Some people feel that parties are closed, transactional, or only interested in youth during elections or during voting time. Why should young people still engage these political parties regardless of what they feel about the parties?
That's a very intriguing question, Chesang. Allow me to pick your mind. If you look at how political parties have metamorphosized over time, you will notice it is because of one very fundamental thing, and this is political patronage. Our parties are founded on the ideals of a single individual. That's the problem with our political parties. And any other person who decides to join that party, be it a governor, an aspirant for governor, a senator, an aspirant for senator, and a member of parliament, or an aspirant for MP, an aspirant for any ward position, as a ward rep for any ward in the county, in the country, you will notice it is subject to the patron of the party. So you've noticed, like for example, there's a party that is now facing divisiveness because their patron apparently became deceased late last year. And there's also another party, the Cochrane Party, when the ruler of that party left power sometime in 2002, the party is yet to get back on its feet. So the challenge is not about participating in the political party. The challenge is, why do we have parties which keep on changing their colors over time, like chameleons? Because we joined this party because we believed in its tenets, its ideals, its goals. Some of us have been members of political parties, have participated in this youth dialogue. We've came up and participated in manifesto making. We've also gone and advocated for the party. But why does the party over time abandon what it stood for and embark on a totally different journey, totally different from whatever it initially stood for? And I feel like it places us both two obligations on us, Tamas Vijana. We only have two obligations. One, we have a negative obligation. We decide, okay, let us no longer participate in political parties. And what is the consequence of not participating in political parties? Or even in democratic processes, or even in elections? The way the poet said, if we don't participate in political parties, what is going to be the overriding effect? You will notice we are going to abandon the power that has been bestowed upon us, the power that Enda was talking about, to the people who hold positions in these political parties. That is one. So you're going to abandon the power that has been gifted to you by the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya. Number two, any decision making that comes from any ruling party, any ruling government or county government, you won't have your voice heard in those parties. That's another consequence. So are we going to allow ourselves as youth to, okay, tumeosha mkono, tumesema wacha hii nchi iende vile nataka, or like I heard the other day people saying wacha tuuze hii nchi na kila mtu agawiwe share yake. Is that what we really want for Kenya? We do that to our negative obligation. The positive to participate in democracy and democratic processes. You don't have an option not to participate in ensuring that there's going to be good governance. Juzi tulikuwa watoto, tomorrow our kids will be here. transparency, lack of good leadership, lack of leadership that listens to the voice of its people. That is going that's going to be the problem that's going to face us and our children. So the only obligation that our responsibility engaging in any decision. Let me now add some more insight into what my friend Kiprono here was saying on the importance of political parties. Interestingly, we will not be talking about political parties if, number one, if they did not play any role. No way. We will not talk about any political party if those political parties never played any single important role. So because they play a pivotal role, and we understand why, for people who come from Northeast, and you understand, for us to get our own, for example, if we believe it is us, the youth, who are going to change the narrative of Elgeiyo Marakwet. If I from Marakwet believe, mimi kama kijana, I can take that action, I can take that mantle. I need to put myself in a space where, in that, number one, special purpose vehicle that Kiprono mentioned, that's going to drive us, number one, into winning an election. That is number two, to winning an election. When we win that election, we are going to use our position of, influence as members of elected representatives of the people to represent the ideals and interests of the people. That is my thinking. That's my thinking. So we are not going to do away with political parties, and I hope no one who has joined us today, everybody from EMC, is not going to join a political party. Regardless, I'm not going to do the bidding for any party, but join an active party. You know how difficult it is to enter into parliament as an independent member. In this county, for example, we have 2 independent elected members of parliament. So you guys understand that, and you know the tussle they've been facing with parliament. Even exercising your own independent voice can undergo a lot of castigation from members of either the ruling party or the opposing side. So let us try and get these leaders that we really think can vouch for our interests, have them elected through political parties. And number one, I think actually not number one, I think number 4 now. I'm losing count. I'm not a mathematician. I'm more of a legal scholar. But I hope you get me when I'm saying that if we actually get these leaders that who can vouch for our interests, make sure you have a voting card. The IBC is about to open its registration the next coming weeks. Make sure uko kadi. Ukishakuwa kadi, make sure you join a political party, whichever party of your choice. And then, now let us actively participate. I want to see many of us being nominated to the county assembly. I'd like to see most of us being elected to the county assembly, because we don't really have to get these people elected. Pia si vijana tunaweza. Ama hatuwezi? Tunaweza, si ndio? And that's the conversation we should be having. I hope when we leave here, all of us are going to participate.
Thank you so much, Wakili. Amesema we cannot just be the mobilizers, we can be voters. We should become the agenda of the party by being candidates, organizers, researchers, and policy voices in those parties. When we are included in these parties, we will know whatever is going on. Before we get to our landing point, the cabin is open for 1, 2, 3 questions or suggestions of the Kenya I want. We can have the discussion on what youth issues should political parties prioritize in this county, what kind of leaders should parties nominate, and what practical action can young people take after today. We've sat here for 2 hours. What practical action are we going to take as young people, and also that will influence our participation in these party decisions? Thank you.
Good evening. I also want to say something, even since I'm a member of, I'm just from within here. First and foremost is I want to thank all of us for taking this time to come here. And sorry if we are taking time, we are finalizing very soon. Kitu moja ambayo mimi napenda kuongelea ni, there is a wise saying that says, the punishment given to good people who don't participate in politics and governance of their country, the punishment given to them is to be ruled by fools. So, and that is the reason why all of us have to come here. And I thank God because we've come to this far end of Elgeiyo Marakwet so that tuweze participate, kuongea na vijana wa huku, tuone where do we want our country to go? Do we still allow fools to lead us? Ama ni wakati sisi tunafaa kusimama na kusema ya kwamba ndege tunamuuliza nini? Wewe ile tulielewana, ulifanya na kenye ulifanya tulielewana. Hiyo ndio kitu ambayo mimi nilikuwa nataka sisi tuweze kuulizana. Na ndio maana tumekuja na jinsi yule poet alisema hapa. Tukiuliza kiongozi, si ati tumekandamiza huyo kiongozi sasa tutafutwe na polisi. Hapana, tunataka nchi ambayo mimi nikuja niambie bwana president, ulituahidi 1 2 3 4 5. Je, bwana rais unaomba tamu nyingine ya pili, ama bwana governor unaomba tamu nyingine ya pili? Hii mambo tunaelewana, ulifanya? Tunaelewana? Kwa hivyo mimi ningependa kwamba sisi wote kama vijana wacha to take part in participation ya politics. Sawa sawa, tusikubali kuongozwa na fools because that is the ultimate price we're going to pay. Kwa wacha sisi tukue viongozi, tukue mstari wa mbele kuhakikisha kwamba tuko kwa political party. And I hope kila mtu akapa kwa political party. Sio kweli? Either wewe ni mtu wa UDA uko ndani ya chama, mtu wa ODM uko ndani ya chama na DCP na hizo zingine zote, ili tuweze kupeleka Kenya yetu mbele. Na mimi najua ya kwamba siku moja tutaulizwa kwamba mzazi kijana yako ama mtoto wako atakuwa anasema ya kwamba baba yangu alikuwa mahali hapo mbele, and we will be the heroes and the heroines of this country if we are going to take part in shaping the politics of our country and our governance. So thank you so much. There is a hand that was somewhere here. Kulikuwa na mkono? Only one person, 1 minute, kindly. Who wants to say something? Yes, thank you.
Tumsifu Yesu Kristo. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Nashukuru sana. I'm very very happy for the conversation. Yes, just 1 minute. Mimi ni mtu wa keep time. I think wale ambao wameweza kufika hapa leo wanaweza eneza injili ya to participate. Ingekuwa ni vyema zaidi. I think tuko na smartphones hapa ndani. I think watu wengi washapata mtandaoni. Mimi na encourage, let's share it ili watu wengine pia waweze kupata information tumekuwa tukizungumza hapa, ndio ikuwe rahisi. Tusijiwekee that information ndio tumeshafika hapa wachache, wengi wetu wanaweza pata kama vijana mahali popote hapa Kenya ama to the rest of the world. Yes, mimi nashukuru sana. Wanasema kwamba ukipewa muda alafu MC akuone kwa macho ujue kwamba muda wako umeshakusha. So mimi nashukuru sana, na wale ambao wako hapa tueneze injili ya hashtag to participate. Asante sana.
Thank you so much for keeping time. We are now preparing ourselves for landing on this journey of to participate. Before we land in our panel, giving one remark, I'd like to give the microphone to Dr. Kilimo and Yano for 1 minute each. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. I don't know, I was just feeling a little bit aged out because when they were ticking the list, I think I'm the only one who ticked on the upper limit of the age limit. You know, getting to 5th floor. Sometimes my kilos make my age underestimated. Being not youth, let me just start a voice from the upper bracket. My name is Kilimo Ruto. I'm a chief mentor, close to 3 decades now. I'm also a governance expert, practiced governance for quite a while. And I'm excited about the discussion going on here. I was just feeling like you're quite ideal. So probably after the discussion, probably we find a way of landing kuja ground. Kwa sababu kwa ground mambo ni tofauti kidogo. But basically we got to get there. And the Kenya want, and having listened to you also on the Kenya you want, probably my question to you could be, are you ready for the prize that brings the Kenya you're talking about? Because that's the biggest question. In fact, every time I've kept on asking myself that, is the leadership a reflection of me? That one big question, because sometimes when people get to office, we have this thing of playing holier than thou, right? That we have goons leading, but you wonder who got the goons there. So that's a little. Could they be just a representation of the majority of goons that put them in office? We need to have that discussion. It's not an easy one. Not an easy one. Because I've seen also a situation where we can be so good and powerful until the leadership positions you. I don't know, will you continue talking at the same tone and the same zeal of advocacy even when they give you a tender? Those are very difficult conversations. When they will employ your sister or employ your wife or employ your husband, will your voice remain the same? That is now the journey of moving towards the Kenya we want. Are we in a position to hold them accountable even when we have a certain relationship with them? Whether it is a relationship of benefit or a relationship of blood or whatever it is. Because one thing that one man wrote many years ago, I think in the 80s, 1887 to be precise, and he said, Acton, a man called Acton, was a philosopher, and he said, power tends to corrupt. And he said, an absolute power corrupts absolutely. What does that tell you? It tells you that power must be checked. That before you delegate power, you need to be very careful on whom you are delegating the power. Before you surrender Article 1.1 of the Constitution, because power belongs to you until you surrender, until you give it to somebody in form of representation, whether it is in parliament or whether you choose a chairman of a certain group and stuff like that. The moment that power moves to that point, you have to ask yourself two questions. Question number one is that, do I know the power, the person I've surrendered my power to? And number two, am I in a position to check that person that I've put in power? When we do that, then we'll be moving closer to that Kenya that we're talking about. Because the institutions we are saying we want to see functional institutions, I want to tell you, it's actually people who make institutions not to function. The moment you have a corrupt leader in position, you don't blame the institution. You blame the people who run the institution. Institutions will work the way the people who run them make them work. It's a reflection of the people who run them. And that's why we have schools which are ran down. We have hospitals which are ran down. We have certain government institutions which are ran down. Why? We got some people there who are running the institutions down. This is my word to us as young people, that let us be ready to pay the price that gives us the Kenya we want. And where I sit, I am praying that we will have as citizens who are ready to elect good leaders. That's my prayer. We are around election time. A lot of money is a bit up. The one question that really disturbs me is every time somebody presents himself for an elective seat or herself for an elective seat, question number one, before we even ask integrity and capacity to lead, ako na pesa. I'm like, wait a minute. And that's where we miss leaders who are good. There are many leaders who are here, wazuri sana, but they may not manage a campaign, really. And now, some people take advantage. Are we ready to vote somebody in who may not even manage a campaign the way it happens in this country. Number two, I'm really praying, God, that we have a youthful population who are ready to be a good human resource. I operate so much around schools, and I can tell you with no fear of contradiction that we have a good number of teachers who cannot teach. No content. Some of them cheated their way to graduation. Let's say the truth. We have teachers who have the content, but they are not ready to teach. They are in TikTok. They are going to class with earphones. We have a group of young people who cannot make a good human resource. Unapata nasa na kushughulikia, lakini yako na earphones kwa masikio. You have a doctor mwenye anakuclerk na ana Google your symptoms. I'm telling you, and I want to ask us young people, are you a good human resource? Because I'm concerned about that company. Can that company employ you? Because as we complain about these institutions, I want to ask you, can you be a good human resource? Can we employ you as a teacher and you teach? Can we employ you as a doctor and you work? That is a challenge to all of us. That when the opportunity comes, are we prepared to offer ourselves as young people who can shape a country that we truly want? As we hold them accountable, let us also hold ourselves accountable. My parting shot today could be, are we ready for the prize that will give us the Kenya that we want? Thank you so much, and thank you for this conversation. I think more of this will get us closer to the Kenya we want. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the insightful conversations. I'm told time is not on our side. I think this conversation needs to get to the grassroots level. I think we can have that conversation another day, so I'll donate 30 seconds for the closing remarks to participate 028.
My fellow panelists, to my very able moderator, and to the people of Elgeiyo Marakwet, I thank you for coming out here, and we've started a very nice dialogue that in the next few coming days, we are going to have a new election cycle, and I hope we are going to take, sisi kama vijana, we'll go outside there, we'll actively involve ourselves. We've heard from each other. We are going to take that now into action. So we are not going to have a North, Marakwet East, Marakwet West, and participate objectively with our interest at mind and at heart. So I really thank the people who participate for coming to Elgeiyo Marakwet. Thank you.
My parting shot, first I'd love to quote one of my favorite papers by the late Justice Ibrahim on leadership and ethics and behaviors. And in his paper, he mentions that in leadership, first in the paper, he doesn't talk about power. I think also using the word power really rubs off the idea of what leadership is. In his paper, he mentions that leadership is the idea where you work with people to attain a certain goal. But before you attain that certain goal, it has to start with you. As Dr. Kilimo has said, it begins with you. And it's funny that he is here. He mentored me while I was in Form 3. So I am seated here right now, and it worked. So what I can say is, on leadership, it starts with you. And that word power, before we go around using it, power and power. I believe we should just change it a little bit and see these people as leaders. Because when you say power, it's like you're giving it to him. But when you see him as a leader, it's easy for you to see him as a human being who is leading you to attain a certain goal, and not someone that you can't reach, that is out of reach. So yeah, thank you. That is my participate. Make sure it starts with you. It will not start with anyone else. To the little things that you do to yourself, to the highest goals that you achieve. It's what will help you participate and be informed. So stay informed, participate.
Okay, my parting shot would be all the things that we talked about, but in the past, I actively tweeted against some things. I poured my heart out, I poured my head out, and all the rage I poured into the keyboard, but all that keyboard warriors culminated in some people being called and given some positions. So this led me to think about my life. So it is not the rage that you have, it is the structures that you put in place. Structure yourself, get organized and participate. Make sure you participate. So I am actively participating. Make sure you participate too.
Ladies and gentlemen, as our flight to participate 028 begins its final descent, I would like to sincerely thank my panel member for the insightful conversation and helping us navigate through this conversation. To everyone in this room and to those who joined us virtually via Sarah House, Nandi Youth TV, and via ENC Daily, thank you for boarding this journey with us. Your questions, your reflections, and engagement have made this flight meaningful. Thank you for participating through the hashtag to participate. Let's keep participating, because today we've discovered that destination we all long for is similar. A Kenya where citizens can live with dignity, where jobs are created, fairness prevails, leaders are accountable, communities are safe, and our institutions work for the people. But every successful flight requires more than just a destination. It requires a flight plan, a skilled crew, a reliable system, and passengers who understand that we all have a role of ensuring a safe stay. Likewise, the Kenya that we want will not be reached by a chance. It demands active citizenship, responsible leadership, meaningful civic engagement, informed policy discussions, and a deeper understanding on how our democratic institutions operate. As we prepare for landing, let us carry these lessons. We are not just complaining, we are not just watching, we are not just posting, we are engaging. We are learning how governance works so that we can help chart Kenya's future. Our flight might be landing today, but our journey continues. Keep the conversation going, keep participating, keep shaping the future to participate. From County 028, 7,000 to 8,000 feet above the sea level, this has been the Kenya I Want Live podcast. Asanteni sana, and see you in our next county conversation. God bless Kenya. God bless Elgeiyo Marakwet.
Watumishi wako umewapa yote waombayo, ikiwa umependezwa. Wamuwalo hakuna wakulipinga.
Hello. Hi. One last thing. I'm so glad you all have participated and have joined this conversation. We will be having our Elgeiyo Marakwet Youth Summit 2026 this year in July 23rd and 24th. We are welcoming you all. We have application summit.
Kwa majina ni Austin Otieno Ukiri.
It's an open summit. So
Mkenya halisi na miaka 21. Na kama vile mnaona anajituma. Kijana ni bodaboda.
Where our leaders
so umeuliza the Kenya you want, na ngoja niseme nataka a corruption free Kenya na fair Kenya kenye leaders wana create opportunities Kenya ni equal kwa ule rich kid na sisi. Sasa mi Kenya naweza taka ni kenye opportunities mimi nilimiss, watoto wangu wasimiss hiyo. Kuwe na ile opportunity same na wale wenye walizaliwa kwa family capable, naelewa. Naona sika vijana first tukue tunapiga kura na tunaangalia wale political leaders wenye tunataka to choose watu responsible, ndo at least wakiimplement hizi vitu wanapika bill wakipass kama laws na kuja zina favor watu wa ground kama sisi. Ni leaders tu wanachaguliwa wazuri. Sasa kitu nilikuwa nataka kuambia pia ni unity. Alafu tukua kama vijana tunaona si ndo the future leaders wa kesho. Nataka tuungane kama mimi si mkale, but tunaona penye nafanya kazi ni kwa wakale, wamenikubali. Kitu unajua ni tukiweka tribalism nyuma, tuna grow kama one Kenya, na pia vijana tujitume wote.